regardless of the housing size required, be it for flush mounting or surface mounting, with integrated or detached front panel. With SIPROTEC-4, you can select a housing to suit your individual requirements. All the elements required to operate the SIPROTEC-4 device are clearly arranged on the front panel. The scope and type of the control elements may vary, depending on the respective device type. The SIPROTEC-4 family offers devices with both small and large displays. Both displays show information in the form of text. The large display can also show information graphically. The display in the normal state is called the default display. Simply press the control button to show the control display, from which you can also carry out switching operations. Use the arrow keys to navigate the control display or within the individual levels of the menu. These can be displayed by pressing the menu key. You can also use the menu to check settings, carry out functions, and change specific parameter values. For example, if you've selected a specific parameter, use the numeric keys to change its value. To confirm these changes, use the Enter key. However, to reject these changes or to change to a higher level menu, press the Escape key. You can also use the numeric keys to navigate, as each menu entry has a digit reference. Use the on and off keys to switch the equipment you've previously selected in the control display. 2 key lock switches are also used in connection with switching operations. These are used to switch between local to remote control and normal to test mode. The function keys enable fast navigation to specific points in the menu tree. However, with DIGSI-4, you can also allocate other actions to these function keys. In addition to the display, a range of LEDs provide information on device and process sequences. These can be individually defined using the routing process. To reset the LEDs, simply press the LED key. Please note, this also resets the output relays. And, due to the standard parameterization with which the device is delivered, some LEDs may light up again after resetting. There are 2 further LEDs above the display. These cannot be parameterized. They tell you if the device is in normal mode or if the device has a fault. Each SIPROTEC-4 relay is supplied with a number of standard interfaces. The operator interface for direct operation with DIGSI-4. The service interface for remote operation with DIGSI-4. The system interface for integration with a substation control system, and an interface for time synchronization via external signals. Depending on the relay type, there are further dedicated interfaces for particular functions, for example the communication between a number of relays or the connection of temperature measuring modules. Most interfaces are pluggable communication modules. They are available as electrical or optical interfaces, for example, as the service or system interface. All the device terminals are located on the rear of those devices intended for flush mounting. The connections for the current inputs are always screw terminals, whereby 2 adjacent contacts from a contact pair. These pairs are automatically short-circuited as soon as the related module is pulled from the SIPROTEC-4 device. The voltage terminals are screw terminals as well, but are also available as plug-in terminals. The terminals for the power supply are explicitly marked. The exact allocation of the individual terminals to the voltage, measuring transformer, and binary inputs, and of the binary outputs and live contact can be found in the device manual. Delivery of the device includes labeling strips for the row of LEDs and the function keys. Label these strips according to the indications and functions to which the LEDs and function keys are assigned. View areas are fitted next to the LEDs and function keys on the front panel to accommodate these labeling strips. The labeling strips can be inserted into these view areas through openings above the LEDs or function keys. Now connect the voltage supply to the SIPROTEC-4 device. The two voltage terminals on the rear of the housing are marked with U- and U+. Make sure that the auxiliary supply voltage provided by the voltage supply is within the permissible range. Even if you've been using ring lugs, pin lugs, or a single strand wire, solid termination with SIPROTEC-4 is always possible. Insert cable, fasten, finished. To bridge terminals, each device is supplied with links for the current and voltage terminals. These have been fashioned so that they exactly fit the different terminal types. When all connections have been made, terminal covers provide increased safety against accidental contact. If everything is okay, switch on the voltage supply. Several LEDs signal the startup of the SIPROTEC-4 device, as well as a range of information shown on the display. One item of information is the order designation, which contains a code for the device model. In the case of devices with a large display, the default display is shown as soon as the startup phase is completed. Devices with a small display show a range of operational values. As you will see as this DVD proceeds, you parameterize your device very easily with DIGSI-4 and then transfer the new settings directly into the device. You can follow the status of the transmission in DIGSI-4 and on the display of the SIPROTEC-4 device. When the transmission is completed, you can check modified values on the display. But even without DIGSI-4, you can change parameter values directly on the device. Using the arrow keys, you navigate through the menu and select the parameter in question. Using the numeric keypad, you change its value and then confirm this by pressing Enter. But of course, the menu of the SIPROTEC device doesn't just let you check parameter values. In no time at all, your display will also show the current routings of binary inputs, binary outputs, and LEDs. To get an overview of all routings or to change them, use the DIGSI-4 device matrix. More on that in the DIGSI-4 unit. The display of the SIPROTEC-4 device can show all process data. Our example shows an overview of the primary operational values. It goes without saying that as long as no measured currents are flowing, all values are 0. There also won't be any network failure indications or fault records yet. To change this, you need to simulate a fault. For this purpose, you need a test device to replace the secondary side of the current transformer. Set up a 3-phase connection between the test device and the current input of your SIPROTEC-4 device. In order to be able to share a return line, connect the still open current inputs on the left side of the terminal to current links. Set the test current to the value of the rated device current. At this setting, the device must not trip. As you already know, you can find the rated current in the data of the rating plate. Now, slowly increase the current to double the rated value in all 3 phases. A visible reaction is the lighting up of several LEDs, including those that are linked to indications for general excitation and tripping. At the same time, the output contacts to which these indications are routed close audibly. If your SIPROTEC-4 device has a small display, it will show message texts as well. The type of indication buffer your SIPROTEC device has depends on the individual model. The indications generated as a result of the simulated network fault are stored in the fault indication buffer. To display these indications, navigate through the individual menu levels in the usual way and select the relevant fault. It's very easy to read and archive indications with DIGSI-4. You'll find out more on this as the DVD continues. Equipment can be controlled directly at the SIPROTEC-4 device. All switching operations are safeguarded with the factory predefined interlock conditions. First, place the upper key lock switch in the local position. Press the control key to bring up the control display. Use the arrow keys to move the selector to the symbol of the circuit breaker. Then press the on button and confirm with Enter. A confirmation box appears on the display, which must be confirmed by pressing Enter again. A message appears telling you that due to the parameterized field interlock, switching is not possible. Press Enter again to clear the message from the screen. To try out the switching function anyway, use the key lock switch to enable the test mode. Now repeat the steps described previously. As soon as you have acknowledged the display confirmation box, listen for the typical relay noises on the device, which is an indication that the binary output has responded. Because the corresponding binary inputs for the checkback signals of the circuit breaker have not been wired, there is no checkback signal. That's why a message appears on the display reporting checkback timeout. For this reason, the display for the circuit breaker is not updated. As you could see with our example, your SIPROTEC-4 device already has default interlock conditions. You can, however, very easily adapt these to fit your specific requirements. To do so, use DIGSI-4 in conjunction with the CFC editor. More on this in the DIGSI-4 unit. First, place the tools you require nearby. You need an underlayer suitable for electrostatic sensitive devices, a 5 to 6 mm slotted screwdriver, a size 1 Phillips screwdriver, and a socket wrench with 4.5 mm width across. Also have the new communications module ready. Before you open the housing, always disconnect all poles of the SIPROTEC-4 device from the power supply. Using the Phillips screwdriver, remove all screws fixing the communications module to the back of the device. Using the socket wrench, remove the 2 studs. Now remove the screw covers at the front of the device. And now loosen the slotted screws that are underneath. Slowly pull the front panel of the device forward and carefully fold it back to one side. You now need to remove the connectors of the 2 flat cables from the PCB on the left. To do this, simply push the interlock lever up or down until the connector is pushed out. Remove the PCB from the housing and place it on the prepared underlayer with the component side facing downwards. Unscrew both fastening screws of the communications module. Then turn the PCB and pull the module upwards and off. Without exerting undue pressure, insert the new communications module and fasten with the 2 screws. Now reinsert the PCB in the housing. Use the markings provided to ascertain the correct positioning. Connect the PCB with the connectors. Ensure that the interlock mechanisms are properly engaged. The rest couldn't be simpler. Lightly press down the front panel, refasten screws, mount covers, screw in the fastening screws for the communications module at the back. Now you just need to change the interface variant of the device in DIGSI-4. Open the Properties dialog of the relevant SIPROTEC-4 device in the DIGSI Manager. In the Communications Modules tab, specify the current relevant variant separately for both the system and the service interface. Depending on the communications module used, you may need to define further settings for the configuration. You will find further instructions on this topic in the documentation of the respective communications module and DIGSI-4. Provides support during the commissioning, testing, and system management of SIPROTEC-4 devices. Incidentally, you do not need DIGSI-4 for this, but simply a PC with any web browser. Your computer must have either Windows 98, ME, 2000, NT4, or XP installed. The easiest scenario is to directly connect the PC and the SIPROTEC-4 device via serial ports, or use a telephone connection combined with a modem. If the SIPROTEC-4 device is fitted with an EN100 communication module, web monitoring is, of course, also possible via Ethernet. Many SIPROTEC-4 devices are already equipped for web monitoring. To find out if this applies to your device, just refer to your device manual. In our example, we will use a direct connection between your PC and the SIPROTEC-4 device. We've installed Windows XP and are using Microsoft Internet Explorer version 6 as a web browser. If you want to communicate with the SIPROTEC-4 device via serial port, you also need to install a modem driver and set up a dial-up connection. The quickest way to get to the relevant dialog is by entering telephone CPL in the command line. Click Add in the Modems tab. This starts the hardware wizard. To bypass the automatic modem detection, click the Select Modem option. Windows now offers you a list of modem types. Choose a standard modem with 33,600 BPS. Now you need to select the serial PC port that the SIPROTEC-4 device is connected to, and the installation of the new modem driver will be completed. Now check the value for the maximum transmission rate. The same value must be set for the modem driver, the dial-up connection, and the SIPROTEC-4 device. Please also make sure that the compression and the flow control are disabled. Also, no initialization strings should be entered. We have provided a program called SRS to make it easier for you to set up the dial-up connection. It is available on this CD, as well as on the DIGSI-4 installation CD. Copy SRS anywhere you like, for example onto your desktop, and start it. If other dial-up connections are already installed on your PC, their identifiers will be visible in the display area. Now create a new dial-up connection. Follow the instructions provided by Windows. Assign the new dial-up connection a name, for example, SIPROTEC-4, and accept all the other default values. SRS now needs to enter the specific settings. Simply click Configure, and the selected dial-up connection is set up for communication with the SIPROTEC-4 device. You now need to set a few Internet options for your web browser. You will find these settings on your Internet Explorer toolbar under Tools. In order to be able to correctly display all information, the web monitor needs the Java components of Internet Explorer. It is therefore essential to make sure that all Java-specific options are activated. Also, make sure that none of the options for input assistance is selected. Deselect any check marks in the control boxes. And another hint, before communicating with the device, delete the temporary internet files. Otherwise, it's possible that the displayed contents are not the most up-to-date. To connect the computer to the SIPROTEC-4 device, use a serial cable like the one included with DIGSI-4. Connect this cable to a free serial port on the PC. Connect the other end of the cable to the operator interface on the front of the SIPROTEC-4 device. In our example, we have created a link on the desktop for the prepared dial-up connection, so we can set this up by simply double-clicking the shortcut. Please note that there mustn't be another communications link with any other device at this point, for example with DIGSI-4. You now need the IP address of the device. If you don't know this IP address, double-click on the link symbol in the tray bar to find out. The status information on the current connection provides you with the server IP address. Enter it in the address bar of the web browser. Once the connection is established, you will be shown an image of the front panel of the device. Using the mouse, you can now operate your device just as if you were pressing the actual keys. All SIPROTEC-4 devices with web monitoring offer this feature, as well as others. All information can be accessed by simply clicking on the relevant point in the function tree. This includes additional device-specific information. Here are a few examples. For devices of the 7UM series, the power curves provide information on the current operating state of a generator. Devices of type 7SD show you the actual protection topology to which they are linked. And with 7UT6 devices, you can view all the jumper positions on the board. Once you've got all the information you require, exit the web browser and disconnect the device.